Hey everybody, Captain Lou here with another edition of Tigers Daily, partnering up with Fan Arts Network. Happy Thursday, July the 23rd, 2026. Hey, before we get started again, want to take this moment to invite you to subscribe to our channel, which is Tigers Daily on YouTube. We get all of the updates, all of our opinions. It's the banner back and forth with everybody. That's been absolutely amazing. So the good, the bad, everything in between. We have a lot of fun doing it. And for those that have subscribed, I say thank you from the bottom of my heart. This has been an absolute treat for me. It's a blast. The Tigers still managing to stay in a wild card chase, even though they're under 500. But again, thanks to you that have subscribed to the channel. And we invite those that haven't. Check it out. I think you'll like it. So again, happy Thursday, everybody. And it's indeed a happy clubhouse now back at Comerica Park. A big win for the Tigers last night against the Cubs. It's amazing, isn't it? What Detroit had 13 walks. Their starter couldn't even get out of the first inning, that being Framber Valdez. And last night, a totally different story. One walk, and that was in the bottom of the ninth inning with two strikes. It looked like for a moment that Kenley Jansen was going to get out of it in order. But nonetheless, he got a 4 at bat inning in the bottom of the ninth. So you just never know from one day to the next, right? We said it with yesterday's show. You take the tape of that Tuesday night game, throw it in the garbage can, set it on fire, do with it what you will. It was and I'm not saying it was an aberration. I don't have any visions of this Tigers team going on a 22-1 stretch to make some hay in the playoffs, although I think they still have a shot. But it's just crazy, this game of baseball, just like any other professional sport, when you've got a long, long season, you just got to throw that one away. You got to ignore it. And that's what the Tigers did yesterday, taking the series win against the Chicago Cubs, winning last night 5-1. Kiter Montero, what can you say about Kiter? He's been absolutely amazing for the Tigers over the year. Oh, in his last 7 starts, his ERA is like 1.8 or something crazy like that. I mean, he's just pitching amazingly right now for the Tigers. 25 in his last 25 innings pitched, last 7 appearances, 1.42 earned run average. That's absolutely amazing. That's what Detroit needs, especially with Flaherty on the IL for at least 2 starts, maybe 3. He may not be back till after the trade deadline. How is that going to affect the trade deadline? Actually, Flaherty's not eligible to come off that list until after the deadline. So again, what does that do with his trade value? So we need Montero to step up, especially what I think is looming more so today than it was a couple of days ago or even yesterday morning with Tarik Skubal. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But then again, the star of the game as well. Montero, 5.1 innings, only 1 run he gave up, a first inning home run. The bullpen, 3 2/3 innings of 1 hit relief. So you got to give them their flowers. Last night they looked good, a little bit more rested, but you still can't count on them. I mean, they're like Jekyll and Hyde. So the big star, though, again, Hao Lee, a 3-run blast, and AJ Hinch has all the confidence in the world in Hao Lee, giving him the green light on 3-0, and he blasted it deep in the cheeks in the friendly confines. And the Tigers get the 4-1 lead, and they get that insurance run in the 8th, or the top of the 9th, rather. Spencer Torkelson scored on it on a double from Zach McKinstry, of all people. And PCA, as they call him, Pete Crow Armstrong, who ESPN was just lathered about as a potential MVP candidate in the National League. He juggled that ball, got Detroit that insurance run, and it was 5-1. Final score. Tigers take 2 out of 3. 4.5 games now, again, out of the last wild card spot. Boston split the doubleheader. Their 15-game winning streak is over. They lost the nightcap to the Baltimore Orioles, so the logjam is still there. But Detroit is still within shouting distance at 4.5 games out of the wild card. And again, still 6.5 out in the American League Central. So right now, if you're a Tigers fan and you want a playoff spot, you're looking at more of the wild card position, although There's more teams to climb over, but they're a little bit closer. And taking 2 out of 3 from the Cubs, that's what we asked. At the beginning of the road trip, we said 4 out of 6, 4-2. I know, again, when you win the first 2 of a road trip, you get greedy, thinking you should have swept the Angels. But hey, when you've got the Cubs and the Angels, the Cubs, of course, much better than the Angels, you want that 2 out of 3 from the Cubs. So Detroit was 4-2 on the road swing. They got to take 2 out of 3 at minimum the rest of the way if they want to legitimately have an opportunity to go to the playoffs. I know it sounds crazy, but what they've got coming up, it's potentially possible, starting with this 4-game set with Kansas City. We'll talk more about that in a moment. I brought something up here that I want to kind of talk about is Dylan Dingler. You know, Kevin McGonigal, there's no doubt, in my mind anyways, he's probably going to be the American League Rookie of the Year. I mean, he's playing just lights out for the Tigers defensively and offensively. But what about Dylan Dingler, the catcher for the Tigers? On both sides, offensively and defensively. I mean, we didn't even talk about the other night in the opening game of the 3-game set for the Tigers against the Cubs when he threw out that runner at second base, just, you know, leading off after the pitch, gunned it down to Gleyber Torres, and they got him. Heads up play. And the guy is money when it comes to challenges for the pitches. Oh, and by the way, he's got 23 home runs right now, batting .272. Got a base hit again tonight or last night in the game against the Cubs. My question to you, is it too early to talk about giving him a long-term extension? Is it just a one-hit wonder this year? I think they got to do something to keep him. Now, I know he's under team control for a few more years, but why not? Why not extend him like they did with McGonigal? I have a feeling if they do it now, they'll get a much better price. Give him a 6-7 year deal. They don't have to break the bank for him. He's got, like I said, he's on pace to get 35 home runs. I think it's something that Scott Harris has to think about. I know he's got a ton on his mind right now. And I'm not saying extend him before the trade deadline, but I'm saying, you know, either in the off season or after a more than likely lockout or a work stoppage. That's a priority I think they need to do. Again, Dingler is not eligible really for anything until 2030. I take that back, 2028. He's under team control through 2030. He's eligible for arbitration in 2028. So why not lock him up? Why not get him to a good team-friendly deal while you can? Be proactive with this. I don't know. You were with McGonigal, and I still think it's smart. I know it's his rookie year, and they may have jumped the gun a little bit, but boy, he's proven to be aces so far for the Tigers rather. So why not do it with Dingler? Just food for thought. Just something to throw out there. I mean, why not keep him? You know, even he's not going to hit 35 home runs every year. I understand that. I get it. But he's a steady, calming voice behind the plate. He handles the pitching staff tremendously. And he can hit. And he can hit for power. Why not? He's another good player to keep that core going for the Tigers with McGonigal and what they've got coming up. He can be a leader, unlike somebody that I'm going to talk about next. You know, we've gone back and forth on this, I don't know how many times. The trade deadline's 11 days away. I get it. But with what came out yesterday with Tarik Skubal and what he admitted, or his revelation, about how he hid his injury back in January. Now, I understand he wants to make the most money possible. Now, maybe I'm looking way too much into this, and I look forward to hearing what your comments are, or reading your comments, I should say, after the show, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. I want to hear your input on this. I'm very interested to see what you say. What do you think? I know before this, I was leaning towards trading Skubal. I was probably 65-35 on it. I said it yesterday. I would love to keep him here. In a perfect world, I'd love to extend him. He doesn't want to be in Detroit. All that talk earlier in the year, how he loves it in Detroit, he doesn't want to go anywhere. Well, sure. He wants to wait till the end of the year. So does Scott Boras. You've got Scott Boras talking. But here's my other thing. You admitted it. And you admitted it that, or he admitted it, that he did it because he was in arbitration and he wanted to get the most money. Okay, I get it. At least he admits that. He's being truthful. He wants to make as much money as possible. Who doesn't? But what I question is ultimately his loyalty to Detroit. He's not going to sign here after the year's over. There's no way. He's going to command top dollar, money that I don't think the Tigers are willing to pay him. And I don't know if I would. I think they should strike while the iron is hot. There's so many teams right now that are lining up for him. And again, so I'm going to try not to turn this into just the Tarik Skubal trade scenario show for the next 11 days. But with this that came out, I want him gone. That just, I'm a loyalty guy. I know there's not that much left. And there's two ways to look at it. I get it. And I know, ownership isn't loyal to the players. And that troubles me big time. It really does. But I'm really troubled with what Skubal admitted. Now, again, he told the truth. God bless him. He told the truth. But that just tells me that his number one priority is money. He's not really that loyal to the Tigers. I think it's a smokescreen, what he was saying earlier in the year. I could be way off base, but I don't sincerely believe in his heart of hearts, especially with the agent that he's got in Scott Boras, that he wants to be in Detroit. So I would strike while the iron's hot. He's going to start on Friday against the Royals, the second game of the 4-game set. After that, the wheels got to get in motion. Now, a team that I think I would trade him for right now is the Atlanta Braves. I think the Braves, and that's going to be the cool thing. We're going to see who really wants Skubal now. I think there's going to be a little bit of a bidding war. Could they have gotten more? Probably so. How bad do the Braves want another starting pitcher? They've got the Phillies breathing down their neck. I know the Cubs would love a starting pitcher. What would Detroit get? What would Detroit be able to get from them? But I keep going back to what the Braves have to offer. And I'd go after Cam Caminiti or a ready-made starter. And I think this might be asking a little much out of the Braves, but why not? I'd ask for Michael Harris II, starting center fielder for the Braves. They probably won't part with him, but it's a starting point. I'd ask for both and see what happens. If they got both, I think Detroit would, I would be dancing on Woodward Avenue if they got that. Harris is right now batting .301, and he's got 18 home runs and 54 RBIs. Look what we got for a batting average starting in center field right now. Michael Outman batting $153 with a base hit in last night's game. Detroit's got no pop in their bat. And with Kerry Carpenter, God love him, but he's only batting about 200. So that's what I would do. Detroit's got the pitching. Yes, I would love to have Caminiti. I'd love to have them both. But I think the question has been answered. It has in my mind anyways. If there was any shred of doubt, it was ended yesterday with the words that came out from Tarik Skubal. How he hit his injury, didn't want an MRI, didn't want to mess with his arbitration. He wanted to get the most money out. So he put himself in front of the Tigers. And again, the end of the day, you want to do what's best for yourself. I get it. But I don't think that he wants to be in Detroit. Just ask the Angels what they got for Shohei Ohtani. What they could have done. And they didn't. I hope Detroit learns from that. I hope Scott Harris learns from it. And I was thinking about this earlier. Skubal right now, I mean, there's a villain in Detroit right now. In a lot of people's minds, that being Dylan Larkin. I wonder if Skubal's trying to out-villainize Dylan Larkin. One makes you wonder. It's just a crazy season off the field and off the ice here in the city of Detroit. But Skubal, I think his days are done. They got to trade him while they can get something good. Don't wait until the end of the year, because I guarantee you, I would be willing to bet a lot of money that we will not see Tarik Skubal in a Tigers uniform the next time they play baseball after the World Series is over at the end of this year. So just food for thought. All right, we talked about it. A big 4-game set coming up starting tonight. Detroit with an opportunity. They've got a wounded Kansas City Royal team right now. Bobby Witt, for the first time in his career, is on the IL. So they're not going to have to face uh, one of the best, if not the best player on that Royals team, and Bobby Witt, for the 4-game set. Casey Mize takes the bump tonight for the Tigers. And then it's going to be Tarik Skubal on Friday, as we mentioned. So then it's going to be, or I beg your pardon, I misspoke on there. It's Melton. Melton's going to take the bump tonight. Mize is pitching on Saturday. So disregard that. I beg your pardon. I apologize deeply. Melton is starting tonight. Then it's Skubal on Friday. Mize on Saturday. And then right now, Valdez is pitching on Sunday. So it looks like Ty Madden is not going to be inserted in the rotation as of right now with Flaherty on the IL. Look for Madden to take over the long relief role if needed for the Tigers. Maybe he might spell Mize on Saturday because, he's coming off that scare last week. But it's going to be Melton, not Mize, starting the rotation this weekend. Mize will pitch on Saturday. So I beg your pardon on that faux pas there. Again, forgive me on that. But nonetheless, a big 4-game set for the Tigers. This is where they can make up some ground again. 6.5 out in the Central, 4 out, 4.5 out for the wild card spot, currently held by the Red Sox, who just had their 15-game winning streak snapped. So something to look forward to for the Tigers this weekend. They've got to do it. They've got a good 7-game homestand, some winnable games. There is no reason in this 7-game homestand where Detroit cannot go you can't. I think it's imperative that they go 5-2 in these next 7 games. At worst, they've got to take advantage of this homestand with Kansas City and with the Orioles coming to town. All right, we're going to close here again today. I just want to go over a couple of comments. We asked the question, when did you first start following the Tigers? And I love these responses. We're going to ask questions like that throughout the year, the rest of the year. Something a little different, kind of a different twist about, instead of talking about trades every day and, what trade scenario this and what trade scenario that. So we asked the question, when did you first start following the Tigers? And William I think it's William Nichols, 1904. He's been a Tigers fan since Colavito, Norm Cash, and Al Kaline. Being in the high school football locker room in '68, and so he brings up a good point. Lolich and Denny McClain throwing for over 500 innings in 1968. Obviously, they don't do that anymore. So that's when he really took a shine to the Tigers back into Colavito, Cash, and K-line days. Bill Ogden followed the Tigers since 65 or 66. The 67 nightmare when they lost that doubleheader at the end of the year. Boston got into the World Series. Now remember, back then, there was no divisions. You won the pennant, you went right to the World Series. The division didn't start. The divisional play didn't start till 69. 3-1-3 Michigan. He said, I just started watching them in 1983. Loves all Detroit teams, win, lose, or draw. And then Wayne Thayer. One of my first memories was being at the Flint Eagles Club at age 7 in 1984 as the bar erupted in cheers. This startled me at first and then tears of joy, and I learned what happened. And he became a huge fan of Alan Trammell, Lou Whitaker. To me, one of the best, if not the best, double play combinations. Again, I'm biased being a Tigers fan, but yeah, that some great memories. I remember in 1984 where I was a sophomore at Central, watching it over in West Campus Apartments where I lived. That final out in the 9th inning against San Diego. And let's see if I got this right. TLC PRC asked when I attended Central Michigan. He played football under Herb Duramity in the 80s. Well, that's when I was there from 1983 until 1988. And again, Virgil Green, frequent contributor to the show with his comments. He says he remembers several years ago with a chance to visit Wrigley. And it was a treat. Oh, and it was an iconic ballpark. Fast forward to this year, This was the first time I got to go to Wrigley Field. I got to watch them play. They played the Phillies, I believe it was, and they won. And it was an amazing atmosphere. I went to a Saturday afternoon game. The weather was decent, beginning of May. Just everybody walking through the neighborhoods. That's what baseball's all about. And so, but it's why we love the grand old game. And so, yeah, thanks to everybody for those comments. I love it. And thanks for the back and forth. Again, my question to you is, number one or two questions I'd love to get your feedback on. What do you think about maybe extending Dylan Dingler? Is it too late to think about that, or too early rather, to think about that? Is he just a one-hit wonder this year? I would love to get him under contract. And the other question, what do you think of the revelation of Tarik Skubal from yesterday, talking about how he hid his injury, he didn't want to get an MRI, didn't want to risk losing money on arbitration. That kind of answered my question. He's got to go. And if nothing else, that's not the only reason they need to trade him. But that puts the icing on the cake for me. What say you? We'll read the comments tomorrow of what you think of that. So, all right, that's going to do it for this edition of Tigers Daily. Again, I want to take this time out. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, please subscribe to our channel. You get all of this banner back and forth, the good, the bad, everything in between. We talk about the games from the night before, take a look ahead, and all that and a whole lot more. And again, for those of you that have subscribed and for those of you that have watched, thank you from the bottom of my heart. It makes it this much more fun to talk baseball and talk Tigers with you. All right, thanks again for those of you that checked us out here on Tigers Daily. We really do appreciate it. Until tomorrow, Captain Lou saying keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open. So long.